are back for our third match of the day. I believe our third of four that we'll be covering here on twitch.tv/RMU Exports. It is RMU Red versus Duquesne. This is the first time we get to see this Duquesne team, Caden. We saw RMU Red, though. They split with IUP. What do you think they need to do to win both games here today?
I think the main thing for them is to just really, I think, capitalize on their serves and just really, I think, maintain that possession in front of the net. That's something that we saw in RMU Navy that they didn't really handle very well. So I think just kind of controlling the ball a lot better in front of the net, making sure they hit the key spots, and I think that's the key point to try to win in this game.
Absolutely. So, serving it here is going to be a name I don't even have on the roster here. And, I think they said they had someone who was going to switch them both. Yeah, that is Julia Molinaro, who I think is playing double duty today. She's number 4 for blue, but I think number 12 here for red. So I will make a
Where'd the pen go?
note of that.
There's the pen. But yeah, that's a little tough to play double duty. I'm surprised they were like, yeah, just hop in, no problem, play both games.
We'll have to see if that strategy works out for them. They had subs for both teams. Like, they have enough players to run both teams, but I guess they had the need for one person to do a little bit extra today. As that one spiked down with authority by Tatum Zwick.
Boom goes the dynamite.
Boom.
I just go back to that one newscaster clip where he just has no idea what to say and just boom goes the dynamite. Boom.
So, Tatum Zwick, I believe, has made it a tie game, 1-1. And this one is set up by Duquesne. Launched in, but it is dug out by Watson. Sends it over to Strasball, but Duquesne keeps it alive. Now they're trying the near side. Unable to get it over the net, and RMU will take the lead.
So 2-1 lead to start. As I mentioned, that front presence has really paid off so far, especially on that volley there, and RMU now has the lead early on in this one.
So it is Zwick who serves it directly into the net, and it is a tie game, 2-2.
And the commentator's jinx bites us again.
It's just going to be a running thing, especially with, like, I feel like with volleyball in particular, it's just so tough to, like, it happens so often because there's so many, like,
yeah.
It's like a baseball like, setting in the sense of, like, there's a lot of set things that happen every single play, you know? As that one's popped up over to Strasball, who floats it over, picked up by the Duquesne libero. And sent across, but dug out nicely by Watson. Set over by Molinaro, and then Watson will send it across. Going for it on the spike, and was able to do so. We only have first names for Duquesne, so Lexi, I guess, was the person who put it home for Duquesne.
There go, Lexi.
So, you know, sometimes I always find it nice to have first and last names, but we work with what we got here today.
Yes.
Either way, Duquesne with the serve, and they'll put it up. And Watson immediately just launches it back over the net. She had to dive to get that one. Duquesne goes for the spike, blocked nicely by Strasball. Duquesne going to try again on the near side, and that time it officially does go. Duquesne really bringing the heat here through the opening couple. That's how I got opal.
No, word of the day is no opal. We got to find a way to put that in every sentence now.
Isn't that like a gemstone?
I think so.
Let me look that up. I'm
Opal.
curious.
Who knows?
I'm like 80% sure that's what that is. As Duquesne registers another point here, and they are now up 5-2.
Solid lead here for Duquesne now. So RMU took that 2-1 lead, kind of ran with it, and then Duquesne gets that nifty play in front of the net, and all of a sudden they're taking a little bit of a run now.
Yes, opal is indeed a type of gem. It's hydrated amorphous form of silica.
Okay.
It's used in a lot of necklaces, apparently.
The more you know. This is a
It's an educational channel now.
It's an educational program.
As that one served across by Zwick. Duquesne scrambling to get it. Can they get it across? And, well, I guess it had the distance, but nowhere near the court.
Yeah, I don't think the left fielder saw that one coming.
No.
She wasn't paying attention for it.
Someone's got to call up Dave Williams on the baseball team, see who was out there to field that one. But point for RMU, it is, I think, 5-3 at this point?
Yes, 5-3.
So 5-3. The scoreboard down on the court actually isn't working, so shout out to our man Nate Mauser here with the whiteboard keeping track of the points for us. Otherwise, we'd have no clue what's going on.
Thank you, Nate.
So Bailey Watson in to serve for the Colonials here. They trail only by 1 here.
Also got some news for you, Alex. As
Do
I
you?
know you're an Eagles fan, so your offensive coordinator just got a head coaching job.
Did he?
You don't know where? The Colts.
We were just talking about that this morning, how those two teams seem to trade personnel quite a bit.
Yeah, so Shane Steichen is now the head coach of the Colts post Super Bowl tonight.
Honestly, I don't think that's a bad hire for them.
That's a good hire. I like it. It reminds me of a little bit of the Sirianni going to Philadelphia after leaving the Colts.
Or Frank Reich leaving the previous Super Bowl Eagles to go to Indy. There's a lot of
There's
crossover
moving
there.
and then Carson Wentz and Nick Foles. And
There was another one too who did that. I think someone on defense. Neither here.
Yeah.
Oh no, it was Zach Pascal,
yeah, Zach Pascal.
receiver. Yeah. Anyways, Duquesne goes to pop that one up. RMU keeps it alive. Watson flying after that one. She was able to get a hand on it, but not enough to direct it back toward the net. Both teams really flying around here in the opening go. I believe the score is around 5-4, 6-4. Yeah, Duquesne leads 6-4. And coming in to serve here once again is Lexi for Duquesne, because we only have first names. So Paige Mady will drop that one back. Set up here by the Duquesne side. They go for the spike, but it's picked up there by Molinaro. Watson gives it over to Zwick, who gets that one to go. Duquesne trying to keep it alive, able to do so, but not very cleanly. And then Strasball spikes it down, but picked up by Duquesne nicely. Watson gives it over to Paige Mady. Strasball went for the drop shot, couldn't get it to go. Still going for it. That ball's up and sent over to Zwick. Picked up there by number 21, Kendall for Duquesne. And finally, that one will fall in favor of Duquesne. That was, I believe, a number 10. So Julia. I was about to say 20, but there was no 20 on the court. So
Yeah. Fun number game we're having here with Duquesne.
Oh yeah, we're doing our best. So Strasball sent that one a little too hard past the baseline. That'll be a point for Duquesne, and now they are up 8-4.
Kind of looked like Carson Wentz when he got hurt after the Eagles. He couldn't throw the ball.
Just launch that thing. So Watson will pop it over. Molinaro goes to set it up and played across by Zwick. Duquesne on the return. Spiked across, and Watson was not able to get under it. That was number 5, Alexis, because I cannot get into that rhythm with no last names there. It feels so it feels like way too like, oh yeah, we know these people all the time, but we've never met any of these people.
There might be one Duquesne girl I went to high school with, possibly because it just says the first name, so I'm like, maybe. But I have no idea.
I know exactly one person from my high school that went to Duquesne, but also keep in mind I graduated a couple of years ago, so I don't think they're there at this point. But either way, Duquesne serves it in directly to the net, and it'll be RMU's point, and they'll get the opportunity to serve here, but they do trail 5-10.
Up to this point, number 1, Lexi's had herself a nice game for Duquesne, though.
Absolutely. She's had a couple points already, as that one is served in by RMU's number 1, Destiny Valenti. Picked up and played by Zwick. Molinaro sends it over the Strasball, met at the net, but picked up there by Zwick, and the play continues. RMU tries again to get it over, and that time it goes. Zwick was able to drop it down in front of the Duquesne back line, and they weren't able to get under it to play it. Now 6-10.
Yeah, that was 21 Kendall that had the chance. They're trying to go down to keep that ball alive, but RMU has some good ball placement there, and that's one of the keys I said in the beginning here. If they want to come out victorious over the Dukes.
Absolutely. Valenti serves it. Duquesne sets up, goes to that far side, and RMU with a great effort to keep it alive. Looked like a blind hit by Strasball was able to get that back in play, looking like Parker Rutherford out there with the blocker just swatting that up and away. And RMU will get the point out of it.
What a play by Riley Strasball, somehow keeping that alive. Just a blind no-look. Pretty much throws it into play and keeps it in. And as the RMU bench absolutely went berserk after that play.
And as they should. I mean, that was just a blind reactionary swat of the ball. And that one, I think,
that was close.
Caught the line. It looks like Duquesne saying it was just barely out. Line judge, I think, is going to give that in favor of Duquesne. Nope, it goes to RMU. That was close.
I was going to say, I don't know, Alex.
What I think the problem was, it was out of the pickleball court line, but in play for the volleyball court line. That blue tape line there is for the pickleball team, but the white line, I think, is the one they had to go off of, and I think it split the gap there, which is what caused the confusion. And that one stayed in, I think.
That was close.
Can't really tell. Reactions were kind of mixed there. Either way, both sides making a
Duquesne.
couple of substitutions here. I see Remetta coming on for RMU. Duquesne shifts a couple of players. It looks like Duquesne did get the point. They are up 11-8, but RMU on a little bit of a run there to bring this game back a little closer. As Mady will set up Straw's ball, floated to the back line there, and Duquesne goes for it. Diving for it there was Tatum Zwick, able to get that ball up and over the net. At the net mouth there, RMU still holding on to it. Looks to get it over with Mady there, and right into the gap. No players for the Duquesne side in the middle, and they all watched that one drop. An easy point there for the senior leader, Paige Mady.
Paige Beatty's had a really solid game as well. Not a name that we've called a lot of, but you can see her kind of directing traffic there,
Absolutely.
helping out her teammates. And it's all been Strasbaugh pretty much has gotten the majority of the credit, but I think you got to look through this entire RMU defending here. They've done a phenomenal job with these Dukes, despite the score.
Absolutely. I mean, and it's still a close game. It's only 11-9 right now in favor of the Dukes, the two crosstown rivals. That one popped way up by Tatum Zwick, and it found a way to land right back on top of the net.
There's a solid 3-4 seconds of hang time. You almost thought that was a golf shot. You have no idea where that ball went.
Yeah. You know, we're seeing the same thing the folks are at home on the broadcast here. So when that ball went up, it just kind of went, where'd it go?
Is the infield fly rule in effect here, or?
So, Duquesne to serve it. Watson will give it over to Zwick, who drops it down. Dug out nicely, though, by the Duquesne Dukes. RMU with it now. Molinaro gives it over to Strasbaugh, who was not able to get it clear of the net. And Duquesne will retain the serve. They are up 13-9, and it is number 31, Lydia. to serve it. Popped up over there. Molinaro sends it all the way across to Zwick. Got blocked at the line. RMU holds on to it, though. Strasbaugh sends it back. Duquesne has to retreat momentarily before they go for a spike of their own. RMU with it now. Sets it up right in the middle, and Mady spikes it down on top of the Duquesne defender. Nice points there for RMU, and now both sides into the double digits as Duquesne only leads 13-10.
RMU is really keeping pace here with Duquesne. I know it's been a little back and forth game, but I mean it's been a solid game so far. I know Duquesne, looking back through some of their old posts here today, looking for last names, they did get a win earlier in the day as well.
Okay. Shout out to Cade McCrory, color commentary and research team for today's podcast.
I'm doing a little bit of everything right now.
All right, so score now 13-11 after Duquesne misplayed that one. Mady with the serve goes down near the sideline. That was a tough serve to handle, but Duquesne barely able to do so. Mady will pop it over to Molinaro, sends it all the way across to Zwick, who splits the defense, but dug out nicely there by Lydia of Duquesne. Duquesne flips it back across. Mady over to Molinaro, sends it back to Zwick. They try again. Once again, dug out this time by the libero. People flying around all over the place as Zwick goes to set it over to Molinaro, able to get it across. Duquesne goes to set it up. There is a lot of action happening here, just back and forth. That ball's flying all over the place. And finally, the rally ends with a misplay there by the Duquesne Dukes front line. RMU will get a very tough earned point and pull to within one. An opportunity to tie it here as they only trail 13-12.
I'm making a little bit of progress here with the names, Alex, so give me a moment here.
Oh, exciting.
We're making a little bit of progress.
Cool. So, set up there, and Tatum Zwick got her hands on it to block it, but was not able to get enough of it. That is a point for Duquesne, and they will retain the serve here, now up 14-12. Getting ready to serve here is number 13, Celia.
Celia, yes.
And that is popped up by the RMU side. Zwick sends it across. They're floating. And that one blocked away, unable to keep it within the field of play, was Emma Remetta for RMU. Duquesne, with a couple points in a row now, has made it 15-12. Duquesne in the serve it again. This is game one of our third match of coverage here today from RMU Women's Club Volleyball's home tournament for the spring. Popped up nicely there by Duquesne as they send it across, able to be kept alive, though, by Strasbaugh. Floated across there by Remetta. Duquesne goes to set it up, and Watson pops it up. Diving for it's Remetta. Got a good piece of it, and then Watson got a little bit on the end of it, but not enough to get it back toward the net. A lot of hustle plays happening on the backside of the court there, just not enough positioning to get it up and over the net. Duquesne now with the 4-point advantage, looking for more.
Duquesne's looked really solid here, going on a little bit of a nice run.
And then just like that, that run will come to an end as Zwick will get that to drop between the defense's front and back line. So RMU back to serve here, making a couple of substitutions in the process. I see number 17, Emily Faith, jumping in for, I believe, her first action of this game. She was a big part of the tie against IUP earlier today. As Duquesne will pop that one up, looking to set up a play. Goes for it, but Watson's there to pick it up. Faith sends it over to Zwick, and it's popped up very high by the Duquesne back line. Playing for it up front, a nice hustle play there from the RMU side, but it's not going to be enough, and Duquesne will get the point.
We have a majority. I need one name to go here, and we are all set for Duquesne.
Oh, fantastic.
I am great at my job.
Hey, you know, with the club level, information's always spotty at best as far as who is who, you know.
Yeah.
The NCAA stuff, you kind of have to know that stuff. But the club level is kind of just whoever's there. As a perfectly placed shot there off the serve from Duquesne, literally picks the back corner where the baseline and the sideline meet. And that was probably about as pretty a serve as you're going to see as far as positional placement on the court.
We're set, Alex.
Are we? Would you look at that? We have some last names to work with. Hopefully they are the right ones. I have faith in your research, though, Caden. We're
I'm
gonna
pretty
roll
solid with this one.
Cool. We're going to roll with it. So that is another point for Duquesne here as they make it, I believe it's, was it there, Nate, 19? Yeah, 19-13 is the score. So they're only 6 points away from picking up a Game 1 victory here in this match.
Nice little play there from 21. Sandrock to put that one in for Duquesne. Looks like they're going to get another point here on the board.
Absolutely. With the score 20-13, Duquesne's really hit their rhythm here, and now RMU, I think smartly, calls a timeout, and they're going to have to find a way to regroup here. This game just about out of reach here unless they go on one hell of a run here to close it out.
This is also a good time to tell everyone that we are looking for sponsors, Burger King, since we have a crown here in our production studio.
Gee, I don't know about all that, but what I do know is that I see a couple more folks from the men's club volleyball team here today helping out.
Yeah, there's a couple
I
more.
saw one of the senior captains, Michael Gazdick, back there on the RMU Red side, so I have a feeling it might be Gage rolling around with RMU Navy, and Mike might be rolling around here with RMU Red.
There's also Lee over there in the corner with the camera, it looks like, one of the freshmen.
Oh,
from the
yeah,
RMU men's
Kyle
team.
Lee. He, let me tell you, he got some great pictures from that back in the September, if you remember that RMU men's club soccer game versus
Yes.
Pitt. He had some great shots from that 1-1 game. Or was it the 1-0 game? It was the 2-1 game
2-1
against
game.
IUP. Yeah, there was some great photos in there. The one where Guarini celebrating after the PK goal late. Oh, that was
Beautiful.
stellar.
Picture.
Shout out Kyle Lee. Find that man on Instagram. He's got some great photos. Speaking of great photos, we'll have some great photos from this one from our own Natalie Calfo-Carroll. She was around here through the first couple of games getting a bunch of photos. She's actually now back in some of those sorted and processed. As that is a point for Duquesne. They are closing in on pulling away and finishing this one out, only 4 points away from the victory.
And where are the photos going to be up on the website?
Yeah, so there's going to be a bunch of galleries being added over the next few weeks here to the RMU Club Sport website. It's just rmuclubsports.com. And there's going to be photos from this one, the men's game from yesterday, all the club hockey games that we've had lately. Some of the club basketball games have stuff on there. I mean, there's just we're reaching a golden age of club sport content here as far as articles and pictures and video and all sorts of fun stuff.
Yeah,
So shout out to all of the student workers here who help out making RMU Campus Rec one of the places to be as far as creating content for club sport athletes, because not too many schools have that level of involvement, but I think it's fun that we get to highlight some of the players and teams you might not get to see too often, because they're putting in just as much time as anybody else, and they deserve a little bit of that fanfare and credit, you know?
Yeah, it's always nice to see when they come up to you, like Gage did last night. It was like, hey, thank you so much for coming to cover our game. It means a lot. We loved watching the video back. You know, we only get to see them 1-2 times a year, too. So it is really nice to see that they love it. They love seeing all the content.
Absolutely. As Duquesne went on an absolute fire drill there trying to keep that one up in the air. Unable to do so, but certainly not through a lack of effort. Scored 23-14. So RMU, I mean, they've got a couple of points here, but they they still have a long way to go if they are going to make something happen in this game. I think the bigger thing for them is just trying to get some momentum going in the game too.
It is, and we saw it with the first game earlier where RMU had to come back. This was the Navy team, that is. And then that second game, they turned it, or excuse me, the Slippery Rock really turned it around and changed momentum. So I could definitely see this red team kind of following suit of what Slippery Rock did last game against Navy.
Absolutely. So that one's popped up and not able to be handled there. Good little back and forth, but eventually that one ends up into the net off the RMU side. So it will be game point here of this match between Duquesne and RMU. We are chugging right along here in pool play. We are easily in the back half at this point.
Yes.
I want to say this is RMU Red's third game of 4 today, and or second of 3, one of the two. But either way, third of 4,
Third
yeah.
4, yes.
Yeah, so they have one more after this. I think we'll see RMU Blue have 2 more games, one of which actually will be against this Duquesne team. I actually think we'll see them play Duquesne twice. Like, we'll see Duquesne twice in a row, once versus RMU Red, once versus RMU Navy. But that will wrap game 1 of this one between RMU Red and Duquesne. Duquesne picks up the win 25-14. We will be right back after a brief intermission with game number 2. Alrighty, we are back for game number 2 of this series between Duquesne and RMU Red. Bit of a change in personnel here now. Joining me for, I think, the first time on the mic here for some club sport action, it is Nate Fennell. Nate, how you doing, buddy?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. You know, we have some pretty fun women's club volleyball action going on out here. This is our third match that we've covered here today. We'll have one more of RMU Blue after this, but right now it'll be RMU Red trying to rebound after a bit of a rough first game there, Nate.
Yeah, it's been a very exciting day so far. Hopefully Red can rebound and split this set.
Yeah, they were able to split that first set against IUP, but they did that through winning the first one and then dropping game number 2. They're going to have to do it the opposite way around here of having to come back after dropping the first game to try and make a tie out of this one. So both teams on the court here just about ready to get going for this second game. Looks like on the RMU side, we have got, let's see, senior captain Paige Mades out there, Haley Bear, Riley Strasbaugh, Tatum Zwick, I think that's Julia Molinaro, and Destiny Valenti out there for the RMU side. Most of the stars that we've seen throughout the, oh, that's not Molinaro. Who is that? That is not, oh, that's Emily Faith. My apologies. With the net in the way, 17 and 12 look pretty similar.
Definitely do.
But just about ready, I think. I'm just kind of waiting for wherever the ball comes into play here. So we'll be going in just a moment, I think. But, yeah. Nate, what do you expect to see here in the second game after watching how that first one went?
Well, IUP made some great adjustments against RMU in the last matchup, and hopefully RMU can take some notes and do the same thing and get this set.
Absolutely. So now the ball is in play. Duquesne ready to serve it. It is away, and we are started here for game number 2. Faith will pop it up to Tatum Zwick, and that one will be handled easily by Duquesne going back the other way. Picked up by RMU. Faith sends it over to Zwick, and that one spiked down, dug out by the libero for Duquesne, and that was one heck of a play by the Duquesne libero there. That is number 13, Celia Haupt, who got under that one and made quite the play.
Very impressive dig there to get the first point of the match for Duquesne.
Faith pops it over to Watson. Sent across there by Zwick. Duquesne picks it up easily, go for the spike. Blocked away momentarily. RMU picks it up and splits the defense, but back there was the Duquesne back end to pick it up, and that will lead to a point for the Dukes, an early 2-0 lead for them.
Battle at the net just goes Duquesne's way.
Yeah, and that's been the case, I feel like, with a couple of the ones we've seen here, Nate. They, you know, there have been a couple of those net front battles that just haven't really gone RMU's way through the opening go, as there was a bit of a void in the RMU defense there, and Duquesne drops it in and off the serve, and just like that, it's 3-0.
Not too sure who was supposed to go after that one, but it ended up being no one.
Yeah, maybe a bit of a miscommunication there on the RMU defensive end. So Watson will send it over to Faith, plays it over. Duquesne setting up the other way on the near side, finds the back corner. Nicely done there by the attacking player for Duquesne. I actually don't know who that was. I don't know if that was 7 or 9.
That was a very well-placed ball for Duquesne.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they found the back corner with ease and just kind of laid it in there. And they're off to a hot start here. I mean, they had control for a lot of game number 1. They have not looked back here so far as they're up 4-0 here in game 2. That one battled for at the net. Sent over briefly. Oh, there was a bit of a collapse there on the RMU player side. Hopefully everyone's all right. Looked like a couple people went down a bit awkwardly there.
Yet another battle at the net just goes Duquesne's way. RMU can't find themselves on the scoreboard yet.
Yeah, they're still looking for their first point of this one as Watson has to really dive down to dig that one out. Picked up by Duquesne, though. Going for the spike, and that one does stay in. That was a nicely placed shot by number 9, Christina Amrick, who found the back of the baseline. And, it's just that little, that fine touch to make sure you don't send it a little too far. I think she's had a couple of those. I think that one in the far corner was her as well.
Placed it right in front of the back line to give Duquesne an early 6-0 lead.
Yeah, it's and it's now 7. This is getting out of hand in a hurry. If I'm the RMU side, you might need to call a timeout real early in this one. Just try and figure out what's going on.
Yeah,
because they've got nothing going right now.
You don't want to get it out of hand too early. You will need to keep it close so you're in the match later on.
Yeah, and right now they are anything but. They're trying to find any sort of offensive rhythm right now as Zwick gets that one blocked by the Duquesne front, but I think it got blocked into the net. And the timeout there for the RMU side. So 8-0 to start game number 2. Certainly not how you drew it up if you're on that RMU side, Nate.
Duquesne looks very impressive early on.
Yeah, absolutely. And, they won game 1, I would say, pretty handily. It was close through the start, and then they kind of pulled away late. But this game has had a very different feel to it. They have just kind of charged ahead and haven't looked back. And if you're the RMU side, I think the biggest thing you got to figure out is just how do you actually get some of these shots on offense to fall, because they're still looking to get on the board here. It's not like one thing's been the problem. It's been multiple things that have been the problem so far.
Yeah, everything's gone Duquesne's way so far.
Yeah, I think those, to your point, the net front battles has got to be one of the things that they got to be taking a look at. Like, how do you win some of those 50-50s at the net? Because all of them have gone Duquesne's way thus far.
Yeah, Duquesne's front line has been very strong at this point.
And I have no reason to believe that wouldn't continue unless RMU makes some sort of strategy change as far as how they try and attack it. I think they got to find a way to stretch that defense a bit more, maybe getting a little more horizontal, try and play maybe more toward the sidelines, because right now when they're trying to send things toward the middle, it's just everything's getting blocked up real easily on that Duquesne end. But served in by the Dukes. RMU looking to set it up here on the near sideline, picked up though by the libero. Duquesne with a lot of rotation will send it across. Watson will play it up and back over toward Faith. Zwick tried to split the double team, couldn't do it, but they hold on to the ball. Going for it again, once again gets denied. The ball's in the court, blocked away by the Duquesne libero, and gets back into the action here as Watson dives for it now. RMU's flying all over the court, just looking for something to go through, but the Duquesne positioning has been incredible. What RMU may have lacked in positioning, they've had in hustle in this volley. Still going, and it's still up there. It's still in play. Faith just launching into the back corner, diving back for it was Alexis Troy. Still in play. This is an absolutely wild series of events.
Wow.
Watson again there to pick it up for RMU. Sends it back to Zwick. Looks to the near side, and finally the shot will fall. What an absolute battle for their first point of the game there, Nate.
RMU really did earn their first point of this match.
Oh, my goodness, did they ever. What an absolute heavyweight tilt that was. I mean, there was people diving and flying, and things are going back behind their head. A ball from the other court came in, it got cleared, and people got back. It was crazy.
Nobody would give up on that play.
And that one goes back Duquesne's way. Watson had dove for it just a little too far away to make it happen. So 9-1 your score as it stands for Duquesne. If you're RMU after that hard-earned point, you wanted to get that momentum and lead it into a couple more, but nothing really going there. As I saw Kyle Lee, the photographer back there, trying to get people pumped up. He was dancing back behind the sideline there. So that one is picked up by the Duquesne back line.
Right, you do all that work to earn your first point, and then you just lose the serve right after.
Yeah, but they do win it back here as the Duquesne player hits the net. So it will be Paige Mady going to serve for the Colonials here. They're trailing 9-2, but, you know, an opportunity to string maybe a couple points together here.
RMU has shown they have no quit in them either, so no lead is too large for this team.
Absolutely. I mean, they've battled back before in a couple of scenarios that we've seen. Now 3-9 here if they win the point off of that serve. The biggest thing is that they can't let the fact that they're behind really get to them. You know, you got to continue to play your game and just focus. As Duquesne, I would say, lost focus a bit there, and they started playing wall ball as opposed to volleyball.
Right, at this point, they just have to take the score off their minds and just play volleyball together.
Absolutely. So they're slowly working their way back into this game. Now down 9-4. They've got 4 of the last 5 points since that timeout.
Yeah, whatever was said during that timeout must have really sparked some fire into them.
Yeah, maybe they played the speech from Miracle. You know? As that one will fall down. I think they're saying an RMU player touched the net there, so that will go in Duquesne's favor. Let me just, they're going to have to serve. So 10-4 now, your score. Duquesne leads as they step into the box here to serve. Lexi Rozanovic serving for the Duquesne Dukes. That one is popped up. Faith sends it over to Valenti. Duquesne under it. Dukes looking on that far side for the spike. Blocked away. Second attempt. Picked up by Zwick. Faith sends it over to Strasball and dug out there by the Duquesne back line. Now Duquesne on the attack, and a nice pickup there by Zwick.
Impressive dig there.
Absolutely. And now Strasball floats it over. Duquesne looking to try again. Going toward the middle, but Zwick picked it up. Faith back over to Strasball. Picked up again by Duquesne. Duquesne now trying on the near side. Oh, and almost, the dig technically was there, but no one was able to get down to play because it wasn't very high off the ground.
Yeah, she only got it just about her chest level, and nobody could get over in time.
Yeah, but incredible. There's been a couple of really good volleys since that timeout. Both teams really flying around. I wonder, I'd imagine, right, if I was in there, even if that point didn't go right, it's fun when you have those crazy volleys back and forth like
yeah,
that.
you don't know who's going to get the point.
And then you're just like flying around. It probably just heightens everything. Where like if you don't get it, you're like darn. But if you do get it, you're like, oh yeah, there we go. That
Yeah.
we crushed that one and finally broke through. But
Absolutely.
Duquesne with a pretty sizable lead. It's back up to 8 here. It is 12-4. Zanovic the serve. RMU now sets up for an attack toward the back line, and that clipped the net and out of play. Point for the Dukes.
Just fell the wrong way after hitting the net, unfortunately out of bounds for RMU.
Absolutely.
I believe the score is now 13-4.
Served in by Duquesne. That ball going way back there, and one of the folks, I think one of the Clarion players, had to kind of duck and weave to make sure that one didn't hit him. Right now on the other court, I want to say it was IUP and it might have been Slippery Rock. I'm not entirely sure who was on that. IUP was definitely one of them. As Valenti couldn't get there in time, and after that brief bit of momentum after the timeout here, it looks like Duquesne's kind of recollected themselves, and they've reopened up this lead by quite a bit.
Yeah, Duquesne's on a roll now, up 11.
And at the rate we're going here, this will not be a very long game, too, if this keeps up.
Right.
And that one sails, almost into the trash can. That should have been worth a bonus point if it fell. But does not go, does not stay in play either. So RMU will get the serve here to score 15-5. As RMU making a substitution here, Valenti out, Remetta in.
The door starting to open a bit for RMU as they were given a point and the serve now.
Absolutely. So Remetta with the serve. Looks to go deep, backs up the Duquesne back line, but they're able to handle it. And now the volley is on. Faith sends it over towards Strasball, who went to a near side but just couldn't quite clear the net. There was some open room on that far sideline, just not able to get it up and over, because it would have been a pretty fine line to thread that in.
Yeah, just barely couldn't get it over the net. A little too stiff there.
So it'll be one of the Duquesne players with the serve. Popped up and sent across by Zwick. Dug out there by number 12, Joy Chen. Watson, though, picks it up for RMU. Another attempt, blocked away. This one was by Faith. Going for it again, and Faith got a hand on it but wasn't able to get enough of it like she did on the initial block attempt. That one will fall for Duquesne, and this game is a lot to not nearly as much.
Yeah, this one's getting even more out of hand as the game goes on at
Absolutely.
17-5 now.
It is worth noting, though, this is just the pool play, so this is going to determine who starts where in the brackets later today, as Watson doesn't get a good handle on that one. Another point for Duquesne. So while, I mean, it's obviously not good for your momentum as a team if you were to lose this one here and drop the series 2-0, the only thing it's really going to affect is where you have to start in the postseason bracket, which will be beginning later this afternoon.
Right, and I'm not sure of how Duquesne played in their earlier matchups, but after seeing this, I'd assume pretty well.
Yeah, they if they played like the way they did here, I'd imagine they would be one of the higher ranked seeds going into bracket play later today.
Right.
RMU does get a point there, but they still trail by a decent chunk. I want to say it's like 18-6, 19-6, something like that.
Yeah.
So serve up from Strasball. Went to the near side, and I think they said that was out of play. I'm not entirely
about
sure.
that one, but
Don't really know what happened there, but I do know it's probably going to be the Duquesne serve.
yep, Duquesne's point on that. Not sure why though.
I mean, hey, like I said, we're seeing the same thing that you guys are seeing. We're watching off the same monitor, so it's
Right.
we're doing the best we can up here. But sometimes it's a little tough to see the call from some of the side judges.
Right.
But this one now, it's 20-6, and number 26 is serving for Duquesne. That was Ashlyn Kiley, and that one popped up over and picked up by Watson. Sends it over toward Faith. Hit across by Remetta. Duquesne on the attack once again, and that will fall for Duquesne off the hands of number 14, Haley Bear, for the Colonials.
Haley Bear and Tatum Zwick both there. Unfortunately, just lands out of play.
Yeah, they both got a hand on it, just they didn't direct it back toward. But I feel like it's such a tough thing as like a blocker here in volleyball. Is you got like getting a piece of the ball is one thing, directing it where you want to go is very much a different one.
Right, you have to get it with the whole part of your hand, because if it's just a piece, it'll go flying where you don't want it to.
Absolutely. So set up here for RMU. They go for something toward the middle, picked up by Duquesne. They're going toward the far sideline, and RMU able to handle it. A little bit of a scramble, but they were able to get it across. And blocked away
Nice
by
block
Faith.
there.
Got, to your point, got all of that ball and just tipped it right back down over the net. Nothing Duquesne could have done about that one. And RMU will get the serve. I mean, they're trailing by a couple of touchdowns here. It's 21-7. But, at this point it's a matter of trying to get some momentum for what I think they have one more game after this. So it's a matter of getting that momentum for that game.
Right.
Let me see who they play next, actually. I'm going to take a quick look here.
Nice spike there by number 2, Tatum Zwick, to get RMU the point.
She's had a couple of really nice shots. Oh, this is actually RMU Red's last game of the day.
Oh,
Or
okay.
of the pool play, sorry. Of
Gotcha.
pool play. So definitely not how you want to enter bracket play coming off of a rough 2-game stint here against Duquesne. But maybe they'll look at it as like, hey, we've got our bad one out of the way, and now we can refocus up for when they hit the bracket play in a little bit here. But like we were saying, we will have one more game we're bringing to you today on RMU Club Sports. Unfortunately, we only have the ability to do the pool play here today. But we will have one more game, and funny enough, it will be Duquesne versus RMU Blue, or it will be RMU Blue versus IUP. It depends on whatever game gets queued up next here, but that will be the last game we bring you from RMU Rec Sports today, as that one served over by Watson. Hit across, scrambling for it's the RMU side, not able to get a piece of it. Score now 22-10, and Duquesne 3 points away from closing this one out, Nate.
Very tough there, as the ball was just bouncing around on RMU's side and nobody could get it over.
Yeah, for sure. So it will be Celia Haupt serving it in for Duquesne. Popped up. Emily Faith gives it over to Mady and just basically bullied her way through 2 defenders. That was a hard-earned point there for RMU.
Spiked it right between the hands and the net, and then just fell right down on Duquesne's side to get RMU the point.
Yeah, that was a really nicely played shot. I mean, they got all of that ball, but there was just too much force behind it to actually do anything with it.
Right, just fell right down.
Oh, and a nice serve there by Emily Faith. That one finds the back corner. Duquesne thought that was going to go out, and then that ball just dropped like a rock at the last second.
Yeah, that was a perfectly placed ball on the serve.
So the score 22-12. Despite the fact that this game has felt out of hand for most of the game, it's going to end up with a pretty similar score, I feel like, to how game number 1 wrapped up. as this one goes over towards Zwick. Duquesne under it, trying to send it back over. Got a little wide on the pass, so RMU will get the point here. They've gotten a fair bit of the most recent points there, Nate. Now I'm starting to keep a closer look at the score.
Yeah, Torrey Fowler smacks it right into the net to give RMU the point, and they're starting to gain a little momentum here towards the end of the match.
Yeah, absolutely, and they're going to definitely want to carry that toward the bracket play portion of this to know that, like, all right, yeah, we can go on some of these runs, even if we didn't put together our best effort for this game. You know, they know they have the capability of going on runs like that, and you're going to need to kind of just internalize that moving forward. Because they've had a pretty decent showing throughout the day here up until around, I would say, this game. This game's been a little rough for them, but beyond that, they've had a pretty decent day. I mean, we got to see them earlier split with IUP, and that IUP side's a pretty good squad as well. So,
Right. Headed into the tournament, you just got to keep a short memory and focus on the good signs.
absolutely. And that one, nice shot there from Mady, but it found its way toward the back corner. Duquesne hits the net. RMU will get the point. Currently 23-14. Duquesne only 2 points away from wrapping this one up. RMU, though, has gotten, I would say, 6 or 7 points here in the last, 9 or 10.
RMU's starting to trend in the right direction now as the lead is into single digits.
First time since, 10-2, really, that's
Right.
been the case.
Right.
And another point there for RMU. That one tucked home. I believe that was Strasball who got that one to sneak past the front line there. And, yeah, I mean, they're going on a little bit of a run here, Nate.
Very nice play as Ashlyn Kiley tried to kick it back over for Duquesne, but unfortunately that wasn't going to work.
Absolutely. So, played in by Zwick. Duquesne under it. Popped up by Faith. Over to Watson. They're looking for Strasball, who just floats it over, but under it there was Duquesne at the last second. They're going for the spike. Oh, and that one kept alive. What a block and series for Duquesne. That looked like that was going to be catastrophic for them, but they were able to find a way to keep it going.
Very odd sequence there.
Absolutely, but play continues. A Strasball, just overshoots the baseline by a little bit. All the Duquesne players had kind of crept up toward the front of the net, so she looked to try and send them deep and just went a little too far.
Riley Strasball just a little too strong with that spike there, giving Duquesne the point as they are now looking to win this match with this serve.
Absolutely. Game point, 24-14. Watson pops it up. Over to Molinaro to Strasball. Duquesne cycling with it, just floats it across. And Zwick will play it over. Near side to Valenti. Caught the Duquesne defense sleeping a little bit, but they were able to play it. Kept alive by RMU. A couple of good digs there, and Strasball will just float it over. They go for the spike, but Mady blocked it at the line. That fell on the RMU side. So that will wrap it here. 25-15, the final score in Game 2. Actually, technically a closer game than Game 1, although it didn't really feel like it much of the way. But, valiant effort at the back chunk of that game by the RMU side to get a string of points together and get significantly closer than they were. But Nate, what were your thoughts on this one?
Very impressed by Duquesne's performance as they swept the set, and I'm looking forward to see how RMU Blue now handles them.
Yeah, absolutely. So Duquesne will probably be the next game we see here versus RMU Blue. That game will be the final game of the day. We'll be bringing you here on RMU Rec Sports here on Twitch. Unless it's RMU Blue versus IUP. Those are the only 2 games left for RMU on the schedule. It will be one of those 2 games. But we will be bringing that to you in just a moment.